It's no secret that we're in a crossroads in America. We go ahead and we tend to say that this stuff doesn't really matter. What's the point of all of this? The thing is that we're teetering on the edge of a new civil war. Going ahead and seeing all these changes because we refuse to come together. We refuse to realize that differences aren't really that different. Just because you have different that we used to go ahead and say, well, we can disagree on things. Now, if we go ahead and disagree, it's because, well, quite frankly, you think I'm a racist. You think I'm a bigot. Which could be farther from the truth. We go ahead and we say that, well, the person that doesn't agree with me needs to be asked. The person that has a different viewpoint than me doesn't deserve to have speech. That is what a lot of us say now. That is a lot of belief of Americans. And it's an unfortunate settlement. It's an unfortunate statement. Something that both sides kind of agree on, saying that we should be divided. Both sides rather not come together and realize that it's the shadow government that's dividing us. If we were to go ahead and realize that, well, we're not really that much different, we'd be so much better. But the thing is that we rather go ahead and pave division because it gives us the clicks. It goes ahead and it influences our platforms. So what happens when someone goes ahead and says, hey, maybe we're not all that different. Maybe we actually need to go ahead and have these conversations. Quite frankly, they want to silence that person. They want to make sure that person doesn't have a platform, make sure that person no longer exists, that their influence will not be heard and not be felt for generations to come. Because quite frankly, if we were to go ahead and say, hey, we're not all that different, we need to become united, we would be, once again, the greatest country on earth ever. But the problem is that the left and the right want to go ahead and divide us. They want to go ahead and cause the division to make sure that, well, we need to just shut the fuck up because that is where their power comes from. Their power comes from us being divided. What the fuck happened? What the fuck happened to the days where we could go ahead and disagree and everything would be okay? Instead, what we do is that we go ahead and we say, I'm going to fucking kill you for having a different opinion. That is true from both sides of the political spectrum. Both sides are guilty of it. Both sides need to be held accountable of this shit. Both sides need to go ahead and realize, hey, just because you have different viewpoints doesn't mean my viewpoints are wrong. Maybe if we go ahead and say, hey, let's get rid of these fuckers that are in the shadow government that want us divided, we can go ahead and actually be united for once. Well, the problem is that we don't want to have these conversations. We both think that, well, the other side's inherently evil. Maybe, just maybe, we all have a difference in opinion and we all want to get to the same end goal of us being free. But we just have a different viewpoint of getting there. But that's the thing. They don't want us to actually have that viewpoint. And that is why the rise of the Civil War that's going to happen in America right now is prudent. The left and the right have decided that we need to go ahead and potentially shoot each other. We have been in a silent civil war since the 2010s, since the summer of love, if not earlier. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse until we go ahead and say, hey, you know what? We need to just fucking talk this shit out, but we don't want to. We just want to go ahead and be violent for no fucking reason. We want to go ahead and call each other fucking slurs. We just want to go ahead and call each other names. Because why the fuck should I go ahead and care about my neighbor? That is what both sides say. That is what both sides say. But that's all they want to say. It's just, well, what's the fucking point? We need to go ahead, put our differences aside. But no one wants to fucking do that. No one wants you to go ahead and say, maybe we need to just do this shit. And that's the problem. That's the problem with this country. The problem is that we rather go ahead and to call each other morons, call each other retards, every fucking slur in the book, rather than going ahead and getting to the actual problem. The rise of the next civil war is coming from our government. It's coming from within. These people have been orchestrating for decades for us to hate each other. Because that is the only way that they can go ahead and have a grasp on us. If they have a grasp on us, they win. If we were to go ahead and realize that, well, maybe we're not that different, we would be the worst fucking nightmare. If we are united, we are impossible to fucking rule. But if we are divided, we're easy to rule. And that's the problem with what people don't understand in this country. Yeah. If we're a united front, period, it's going to be simple. If we're a united front, these fuckers aren't going to go ahead and do things that we don't like. They're not going to go ahead and enforce the belief system that they have. They are not going to go ahead and disavow the Constitution every single time that they fucking get. The thing is that the right and the left say that they both want freedom. But their ideas of freedom are not innately freedom. One side likes to think that freedom is innately free stuff. One side likes to think that freedom is innately rights. Both sides go ahead and think that if your rights are something that they disagree with, you shouldn't have them. And that's the thing. Both sides are wrong. Your rights don't end where the other person is offended. We can go ahead and yell at each other until we're red in the fucking face, till we're blue in the face, whatever the fuck you have you. But that's not how this works. We are Americans and we need to start acting like it. We need to understand that our neighbor doesn't actually have it out for us. They just have a different idea or a different way of thinking to get to the same premise that we all want. That is for us to be successful. But like I said, they don't want us to be. They want us to go ahead, hate each other, just on political lines, because if we're going ahead and we're having these check mark boxes, it's easier for them to divide us. And division is the key. Division is the key to their power. Division is the only way. Because if these people actually fucking cared about us, do you really think that we would need to have an R or a D or an I, G, whatever the fuck have you next to their names? No. If these people actually cared about you, do you think that they would let BlackRock still be buying up houses? It's that they don't care about you. BlackRock owns every single person that's in Congress right now. If you were to go ahead and look at everyone who donated to them, Black number one entity. You got BlackRock, APAC, Vanguard. They're working for you. They are working for them. And that is why they don't fucking care about you. They'd rather go ahead and line their line their pockets with money and interest that they couldn't fucking care less about. Because they don't care about you. Our Congress people literally have lost interest in the American people, and they only care about what makes them rich. Our Congress people are the reason why we're going to be in a second civil war. Our Congress people are the reason why you hate your neighbor. Our Congress people are the reason why we say that we can't have a conversation with the other side. It also goes for the media. The media divides us. Just because we go ahead and say, like, oh, you listen to Fox News, fuck you. Oh, you listen to CNN, fuck you. The thing is that all these media companies have these fucking talking points to divide us even further. They don't fucking care because their end goal is to divide us. Their end goal is to cause another civil war. If they were going ahead and abiding by us, maybe we wouldn't have these 24-hour news cycles. Maybe we wouldn't have this division. Because these people are only telling us how to think. We rather not come to an understanding and agreements because, well, quite frankly, people don't give a shit anymore. They don't care about us. They act like they care about us through these social programs, but they go ahead and drive us further in debt. They go ahead, they send our money to countries that hate us. And they start these endless wars where your sons and daughters get killed over something they don't even fucking believe in. That is their number one premise to everything, is to kill the youth. Kill the people that will actually fight back. And that is why our government doesn't fucking like us. Our government tries everything to get the youth angry or send them off into some fucking foreign country that you've never even heard of, that you can't even place on the fucking map. Because it lines their pockets. Because every politician is bought and paid for, whether you want to admit it or not. They're bought and paid for by the same entities. And they act like they don't agree with this shit. We go ahead and we diss APAC a lot. But the problem is that our politicians are bought and paid for by all these pharmaceutical companies, bought by these oil companies, they're bought by these warmongers. They're bought by these countries that don't give a shit about us. Because they get a kickback by every single fucking time that they go ahead and send our young men and women to get killed. All of these people go ahead and they become millionaires as soon as they get into office. Why do you think that is? A lot of it is because they go ahead, they sell out to these lobbies, they sell out to these corporations, they sell out to these different countries. Because they don't care about the American people. They rather go ahead and just say, hey, maybe the people I represent aren't as worthwhile as I am. They're not worth it. That is what your representatives think of you. They literally just think of you as another vote. They don't think of you as a person. They don't think of you as your family as people. They think of you as an expenditure. Because quite frankly, that's all that they see. They just see dollar signs. They just see votes. They think that you're an expenditure. And how does that make you feel? That your ruling class hates you. Your ruling class hates every single American. Your ruling class doesn't give a shit about any of us. The ruling class is what is the problem with this country. But the thing is that us as Americans, we just want the status quo. The status quo is what is popular. But we go ahead and we say, well, I want this different. And then we don't complain when things don't actually change. So we just shrug it off. Instead, we go like, well, we don't need to pay off the debt. We need to just spend more. We don't need to balance the budget. We don't need to go ahead and cut expenditures. We don't need to revitalize social programs. We don't need to go ahead and cut the military or spending $1 trillion on it. We don't need to go ahead and give power back to the states. That's what they all think. Because they'd rather go ahead and line their pockets with money. They'd rather go ahead and corrupt themselves with absolute power. That is because they don't fucking care about you. Our politicians are evil people. They act that they care about us, but they don't. They only care about us every single time that their election comes up. Just like how Democrats only say that Black Lives Matter are only every 4 years. At least that's what was the meme. Now the latest thing to be outraged about is ICE. And the thing is that they're outraged about it, but they refuse to acknowledge the fact that Obama has actually deported more people than Trump ever did. Probably ever will. We need to understand that this is a problem. But that's something that they don't want. We'd rather go ahead and sit there, act like everything is normal, pretend having the fucking. But at the end of the day, we don't want to accept anything but the status quo. We want to go ahead and say that we want to balance the budget. We want to get a surplus. But then we don't complain when we're overspending about shit. When we're sending money overseas. We need to stop it. We need to come together as Americans and say enough is enough with this freaking government. I'm not saying that we need to take up arms against them. I'm saying what we need to do is realize that our government's the one that is dividing us. That the division is the only reason why we're being ruled. Because quite frankly, if we were united, that would scare the living shit out of them. Because they wouldn't want to know what to do anymore. But it's time that we go ahead, say enough is enough to the government. Enough is enough to the media. And come together as Americans. Right wing, left wing, socialists, communists, whatever the fuck have you. And realize that these people don't care. We need to come together and end this shit now. Before it's too late. We all care about this country. But if we don't come together sooner, this country will fall. And I don't want to see that. And I know you don't want to see that. In the end, we will rise up. Dominoes will fall. And the American people will prevail. Because the American people are resilient. And hopefully we realize sooner rather than later that we need to come together and put an end to this division that these people are causing.